Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Darren, Browny, Brown, and Big Lez from the Big Lez Rugby League podcast. What's doing, lads?
Yeah, not too much, boys. Yeah, great win last night.
Yeah, I know you blokes got out to the game. I was stuck at the Chloe Hotel with a bunch of Rooster supporters after that Bulldogs game. It wasn't the best atmosphere, but lucky South got a win, and I could feel a little bit better after that.
There's always plenty of chookies down there at the Clovelly Hotel. Not a bad venue, Browny?
Yeah, I was down there 2 weeks ago myself. Yeah, a nice little function down there. Haven't been down there for many, many years. It was the go-to place many years ago on a Sunday afternoon. They used to have a band down there, especially after a nice summer's day. Get up there and have a couple of sherbies.
It's a good spot, mate. And you had a bit of a reunion there yesterday at the juniors. A couple of old boys?
Yeah, certainly did. Yeah, got down there and met Tugger and Dave Gillespie and a couple of the boys down there. Yeah, it was at the Henry's Bar there at the South Juniors. But, yeah, no, it was a good day.
It certainly was. The rain only poured down here for 18 hours straight, so it wasn't too bad a day. Only seen the moon sort of popped out about 9:30 or something out there at Accor Stadium as we all went out for a bloody another good South Sydney win, 14-0, 4 on the trot, boys. We're starting to cook, Big Les.
Yeah, starting to cook well and truly. It's the fact that against a bit of a depleted Manly side to get the 14-0, I mean, obviously playing to the conditions as well, it was absolutely thundering down. So you don't have to blame the boys too much for that. But yeah, look, it's good to get the win, good to get the 2 points, and yeah, hopefully we can keep this trend going for the next few weeks.
Yeah, certainly, and you're certainly right about the conditions. They were horrendous at the start of the game. It settled down throughout the remainder of the last 20 minutes, half hour of the game. But yeah, tough conditions, but a grinding win, 14-0, and it's the first time we've held Manly to a nil score in 75 years. So a bit of a record there as well.
Yeah, it's the first time we've held anyone to 0-2. We think we beat the West Tigers last year, 20 blot at Accor Stadium. I was out there with our good friend of the show there, Brendan Taliski, and his family. And, that was another pretty similar game where we just high completion rate. I think it was 91% the first half last night. Very similar about a year ago there. And we just ended up grinding them into the dust. And that was all she wrote. Very similar last night. We finished up with an 82% completion rate. And when you do that in conditions like that and just keep rolling down the middle, the opposition makes mistakes. And have a look at Brisbane last week. They're in the 60s. And Manly last night were in the 60s as well. Just crept into the 70s by the end of the game.
Well, I've said it on the show many, many times before, and the game has changed in a lot of areas, the way we play and, the training methods. But one area of the game that hasn't changed, and that's ball completion. If you hold the ball, you put yourself in a good position to win the game. And it's no secret that our last 4 wins, we've completed over 80%, where last year we were one of the lowest completed teams around the high 60s. So, yeah, 80% and above, we're going to beat any team.
And it was interesting as well. Like, obviously, we've been very dominant on our edges over the past few weeks. It's much more of a middles game. Obviously, Mawali, Keon running over 250 metres as well. It was much more of that grindy game through the middle, as you boys were talking about. And then very, I guess, dominant in defence as well. Defensively, we were quite good there through the middle.
Well, when you're not dropping the ball, you've got energy to do all that, haven't you, chaps? Especially in defence, you've got so much more energy. You're not handing the ball over and defending all the time. You only defend the sets that you have to defend. And, like you said, mate, a great defensive effort. But, yeah, really forward-dominated game. And that's the typical wet weather footy.
It certainly was. We kept the offloads to a minimum. I think it was only 8 and 7 between the two sides. In conditions like that, you don't want to be just tossing it out the back any willy-nilly. Some of the offloads we did were quite creative, but we just kept it nice and tight there and kept the ball down the middle of the field. When we did push to the edges, we sort of didn't have the speed and pace to go around the speedy backs that Manly have in their side, your Saabs, your Kolas and whatnot. They're pretty classy players, but every time we went that way, they seemed to shut us down, and Cody would just push it back towards the middle and just give it back to Keon, Davey. And Tane Milne obviously had his fair share of the carries. But it started with a nice set by us and a little energetic kick there by Jackie White, and it was a 7-tackle set, but he just overcooked it a fraction, and you thought, hang on, we haven't started too well here, but the boys settled down into a little groove there and started to dominate field position, and it resulted in a Richie Kenner try.
Yeah, it certainly did, Chaps. And like you said, that first 7-tackle set that put a little bit of pressure on us because they got down the other end, put a bomb up, and I think they got a repeat set because young Jai Gray came up with probably the only error of the game. I think he maybe mistimed the bomb or something
he
like
had
that.
a knock on late in the second half too, just
Yeah.
off with Jackie White and dropped him underneath. But other than that, he was pretty exemplary, Jai. But yeah.
Yeah, but once we got down the other end, nice set move. It was a little crash ball, similar, and you called it when we were out there, Chaps. It was similar to the Vegas try that Richie Kennard scored back in round 1. A little crash ball, and he went over untouched. Basically, it was a nice little ball there from Damien Cook. No look pass, and it was on the board we go.
First try scorer.
Yeah,
Kenner, 2 in a row.
God, definitely a bit of value there over the past 2 weeks to have him in there, but definitely lucky in a nice little spot just off the back of Cody getting some tries there over the past few weeks. Kenner, he's looked really good, and just on our edges, we sort of spoke about it just before how dominant we've been on our edges, but yeah, look, as I said, after that try and after obviously the Grey one, which we'll touch on, it was very middle dominant, especially in that second half where we were sort of just trying to keep that lead and really put some pressure on the Manly attack. I thought that we did quite well, and it was much more of that middle game later
Well, in the
on.
conditions, if you look at Damien Cook, the way he jumped in there, shaped left and pushed it out to the right, it weren't no easy catch from Richie Kenner.
No,
let's give Richie a rap. I thought he was pretty good on the day.
It's sort of like
couple of cover tackles he made too.
Yeah.
That weren't no easy one to take, and it was teething down for those who were sitting at home and watching in the comfort of your own lounge room. It wasn't nothing like that out there at Acor Stadium.
No, it certainly was. And we mentioned at the start of the show, Chaps, it was horrendous conditions at the start of the game. But he sort of like backed into the try line, didn't he, when he scored and caught the ball. But, yeah, no, he had to do extremely well to bring it in. And, he was on the board, and Cody missed that conversion. We missed a couple on the night, but he's not a regular kicker, so we won't hold that against you, Code.
No, he wasn't too bad. He didn't miss too much in that first one. But it was a really dominant run there by Davey Mawala, and then they got it out to Cheeks, and he sort of pulled them apart. He wasn't far off scoring himself, and that's where the damage was done. Kohler pushed up too far past the ball for an intercept. As he does, Kohler, he looks for that intercept, and it was we were off to a bit of a flyer there for Blot, and the trend sort of kept that way, pretty much the same way, mate. I think it was Jai Gray scoring again. It was off a Jackie Whiten over on the far left. He didn't go. I think me and Brownie said, "Has he scored or what?" Because we didn't have a great vantage point for that one. And then it was a big shift, and the little fella was out the back of some retreating defence, and you don't want to do that to Jai Gray with the fast feet.
Yeah, no. He's got so much pace for a little fella and as well, and we talked about it as well on the show we did before the game. Just his size as well, it just makes him so awkward to tackle, and especially when he steps back on the inside, you try to swing that arm around and try and grab him that way, but you end up going straight over his head. He's that tiny, but he's unreal. His pace, his footwork at the line, but also just his strength. He made some real tough carries and nearly went over a few times in that game where he was getting a few post-contact meters. I think he had over 60 post-contact meters for someone of, that's, I'd say 5'6" or 7. Hopefully I'm doing you a bit of justice there, Jai, but
he looked small out there.
Yeah.
He's done the Chaps when he was warming up.
He told me 5'10", but I don't know.
But just the strength he has for that size, I mean, it is so good, and you sort of need it as well when you're playing out there at that sort of size as well.
Yeah, look, when we did go to our edges, we tend to go down our right-hand side, so they must have seen something that they were going to have a little bit of success down there on the video. But, yeah, down the right-hand side, Jai Gray, like you said, so fast, he's electrifying. He just threatens every time he's got the ball, and that's why I believe he's got to be in the side somewhere when all our players come back. He's just such a dominant player. He's a strike player, and he can create something out of nothing. And this is what he did for this particular try. There was sort of like numbers there, but just got on the outside of his opposition. And once Jai gets through a little bit of a gap, he's off and gone because he's got so much pace.
Yeah, he just did the show and go, and he was in. It was 8-0 at half time. Look, there wasn't a lot of tries or points in the whole game, and if you go through that whole second half, it was we sort of let up a few line breaks. I think it started with a line break, little missed tackle there by Tane, and they shot through. and we were able to snuff that one. I think that was Carl Lawton as well.
Yeah,
pushing
big
through.
carry.
He sort of had 3 or 4 blokes looming up in support, and I think it was 3 or 4 too many. He didn't know what to do, and he bombed that one. And I think Keon lose it on tackle 4 or 5 on the halfway line. I thought we just started a little slow there, but we were able to settle into a groove and just kick for field position and stuff like that, and we were able to graft it right out.
In saying that as well, I thought Manly's attack for majority of the game was quite lackluster. We were sort of speaking on the drive over here that it was pretty mediocre. They were sort of just playing for field position, and there wasn't really too many times where Manly, other than that Carl Lawton run to start the second half, where you thought far out they might score here. It was very lackluster attack, and as I said before, just really playing for field position for most of that game.
Well, I said to Chaps in the grandstand when we were watching the game, they weren't throwing much at us in attack. Where we never really were going to lose that game. It took us to the 79th minute to sort of like kick away and make it more comfortable. But 8-0, if they could have scored, they might have got 1 or 2, but they didn't, like you just said, Les, they never really threatened us with any attack down either side or even down the middle.
And not having DCE there, I think, hurt them as well. Just a bit of lack of direction. And I think Brooksy was having some Vietnam flashbacks of the West Tigers days, having to do everything himself. But look.
Well, he just parked himself on the left-hand side all night. He had to go both sides of the ruck and be dominant. He let Nathan Brown be almost first receiver of the whole game. He was a couple of sets where he touched it every play. Like Kyle Lawton wasn't dominant. Tommy Talau spent time in the out there at pivot role. They started the game with 8 backs on the field. They pushed Shoppy into the back row, which is, I don't think he's played too much there. Shoppy from the Bulldogs and the Titans. Look, that again, they were depleted and they were quite gutsy, Manly, but they were never going to win that contest. And in a game like that where you keep a team to 0, which is very impressive from our team, there's obviously a lot of good tackles during the game.
Yeah.
I want to single out the one from Jack White in the first half, who was parked on the left-hand side most of the game, but somehow made a cover tackle on the right on Kola.
Yeah.
Had he not come across and made that tackle, he's gone. Put the glasses down, Kola.
Yeah, that was the try-saving tackle for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And just speaking on that, and we'll probably touch on him a little bit later, I thought Cody come up with some real bone-jarring defence, which forced a couple of errors as well. And a couple of times we had to look twice to see who it was, didn't we, Chaps? One on Trebojevic where he lost the ball.
2 on Trebojevic.
On Trebojevic. And, it was a great defensive effort from Cody. I think he made about 28 tackles in total.
I reckon most of them were on Trebojevic. I reckon if you tested DNA tested Trebojevic the jumper, there'd be a bit of Cody on there. I think he was just all over him all night.
But especially after getting, or not dominated, but he did get steamrolled a few times by Dave Fafita the previous week for him to turn it around and really mark up on that back row, especially when Ben Trebojevic, when he's been playing, has been really damaging in that left back row role.
Yeah.
I think that Cody, obviously aimed up a little bit more this week, and it's pretty hard to aim up against Dave Fafita, but he definitely had a crack against Ben Trebojevic.
Done a great job on him. There was plenty of things going on out there. I think also the shot in the first half, I think it was about the 21st minute mark. Dave Mwali, left shoulder on Nathan Brown, who runs the ball bloody hard. So if you're going to tackle him, you've got to end up being a bit of a fracas there, which I really enjoyed that. You've seen the fire from Nathan Brown, who ended up being the captain on the night. I thought they originally named Brooksy, but he ended up being the captain on the night, Nathan Brown. And look, this is Davey Mwali developing before our eyes and evolving every week. He's not just a battering ram ball runner. He's someone that the opposition are now got to have a look at. Where is this bloke in the line? Because he's going to hammer me, this bloke.
Yeah,
Last week you spoke about him putting on a big shot. This week again on a veteran like Nathan Brown. And the middles know where he is now.
Yeah, 100%.
You just said it, Chaps. He seems to be getting better week in, week out. And as long as he keeps on improving like that, he's going to be a real force at the back end of the season.
And we got to the back end of the game. It was 8-0, and we started to get down to the opposition inside their half off the back of, I think it was a high shot, shoulder on chin for Jai Arrow, which he copped a couple during the game. I think they missed one in early in the second half there where it looked like it was a pretty good contact on the chin. I'm not sure who that one was. It was might have been Sipley, was it?
Yeah, maybe.
Sipley hit him and he lied down, and we were talking to someone behind us, I think, weren't we? Some of the boys behind us, and we thought it was a penalty.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they just took him off for a HIA. Didn't bother penalising him. Why didn't we get the penalty there?
Yeah, a bit of
if
a
it was contact
that
at
was
the
a
head.
strange one. I could not work that one out.
Yeah, but obviously gave a great opportunity to Liam LeBlanc to come on the field. And I thought he was quite good. Defensively was solid. But you spoke about that he was always going to be that guy that was going to be defensively sound coming into first grade. He was going to handle the contact well. And I thought he did that. I thought he had a really good 14, 15 minutes there on the field.
His first up contact was outstanding. I think his first involvement was planted his feet and flogged some bloke, and then he had his first carry was a big carry off the back fence, 15-metre hit up.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the night, every time he got a chance to hit him one, he hit him with purpose. So, Liam, like I said, mate, you belong in first grade, and you should be very proud of it. I know Benny, your father, is extremely proud, and you done the South Sydney Rabbitoh jumper proud. A Rabbitoh number 1200, mate. Rabbitoh number 1200, mate. And that they can never take that one away from you now, buddy.
Yeah, congratulations. Outstanding debut. And just from a player's point of view, when you're coming off the bench, especially as a debut, I did it myself. All you're looking for is to make your tackles, make no errors. And he did that perfectly and bring some energy to the team. And he was outstanding. I thought it was a really, really solid debut. He had really fast feet through the middle of the field with his carries. And like you said, Chaps, he come up with some bone-jarring defence on some of them big fellas too. So, yeah, he was outstanding.
He was
Liam.
everywhere in that first couple of minutes. If you watch Roy, he was absolutely everywhere on the field.
He was. And that's what you do. You try and run around. You run around like a chook with its head cut off, basically, because you're so excited and you want to try and do everything, but you just got to try and do your role. And I'm sure he did that, and I'm sure the coach and staff, and I know the players would have been happy with his performance. And yeah, outstanding debut. Player number 1200, like you just said, Chaps.
Well, 12 tackles, no misses. Yeah, that's a pretty decent start. He had 4 carries for 30-odd metres. They're all run good, solid runs with purpose. Mate, I think if you're getting injured to someone like a Cam Murray or Tallis Duncan again, there's your ready-made replacement right there.
Yeah.
Middle forward, fast feet, good defender, and obviously he'll the pace of the game will get away from you in your first few games. But you get him 10, 20 games into his career, he could play long minutes in the middle there, and he will not let you down. So I think we've got a first grader for a long, long period of time. 19 years of age. Well, by the time he's 29, he might have bring up the double ton by then.
And a shout out to all his support crew that went down there. He had a big fan base out there. He's got some nice pictures after the game on the fence with him, and yeah, he would have had some very happy family and friends.
Yep, he certainly did. Now, the last try, I think it was a pass from right to left that hit the ground. Dry Gray picked it up, Jack in the box, broke a bit of a tackle from Brooksy, and it was Travojevic. If you go and have a look at it, he almost had to hip drop him to put him on the deck. He pulled Manly apart. Cookie jumped into dummy half. Keon's pointed to the spot, and a bloke who's gone 79 minutes in the middle, done 250 metres, had the energy to push up in support, reach around with his right arm after he's been shielded from the ball, and slam that one down to put the icing on the cake. Congratulations to Keon Koloamatangi. You are an absolute animal, mate. What he's been doing the last 4 weeks.
Outstanding. Once again, another player that's just improving week in, week out, getting back to his old form that earned him a New South Wales jumper this time last year. And, yeah, that try was, a reward for hard work throughout the whole game, Chaps? And like you said, he's run for big meters, plenty of carries, 30. Oh, how many tackles did he make? 30.
I think 40 tackles,
40 tackles,
and one miss.
And one miss. So that's the impressive part of that defensive effort is there's only one miss in them 40 tackles for a big body.
Played on the edge. Played on the edge when Liam come on too for a little bit while Jai was getting his head injury assessment.
Yeah.
What a performance.
I don't think you can take him out of the middle now. I think that when Cam Murray comes back, he pushed Keon into the starting front row. Whether it's Moali or Kep, it'd probably be Kep that goes to the bench as a bit of impact. I think you've got to have Keon starting in the front row. And then, obviously if Cameron needs a rest, you put him into lock, or if they need to chuck him on an edge, they can chuck him on an edge. He has that versatility. But I think you got to have him in the middle there.
Well, like I said before, the game has changed, and I don't think you call them front rowers anymore. It's just middle.
Yeah.
Whether you're a middle player or you're an edge player. So middle, front rower, 13. It doesn't really matter. Tallis jumps into the middle. He's a 13, but, he plays front row, as you just said. I'd be calling him middles now, and, he can certainly just fill into that middle position easily.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say he's the form middle forward of the competition. I don't think anyone's in better form than him right at this current moment. And thank you very much, Madge, for not picking him in the State of Origin, because we just got another 80-minute performance out of big Keon Koloamatangi.
Yeah, absolute freak, and I think he'll definitely be under consideration depending on how Game 2 in Melbourne goes. Hopefully New South Wales get the win, but regardless, I think that Madge would definitely be keeping an eye on Big Keon going into Game 3.
Yep, no doubt about it. And that was the 14-0 scoreline that we got. Couple of talking points there, lads. Again, the starting props, you got to give them kudos, mate. They played really well again, laid the platform. David Mawali, he's got that real good leg drive. I think he had a couple of nice carries at the back end of the game. Most of the tries we scored, Davey had a hit up during that set of 6 in the lead up. And there's no coincidence. And Sean Cappy probably had one of his best outputs of the season, over 150 metres. Another guy who is going to be unlucky to miss out when Cam Murray comes back, but it's probably on the cards.
Yeah, Kepi has been great over the past 2 weeks, but particularly this week was probably his best game I've seen from him this season. Just run hard, tackle hard, but also just having an impact and starting the game while setting the platform there with Big Davey. Davey obviously being the standout there through the middle with Keon, but I think Kepi is definitely someone you can't forget about there in the middle who's really laying that platform as well.
Yeah, definitely the 2 starting front rows, but I want to give a rap to Tom Burgess as well. I thought he was outstanding. Some of his carries, Chaps, when we were deep in our half to get us out of trouble and get in position for a nice kick downfield. But, yeah, like them 3 middle forwards that you just spoke about, they've been outstanding the last couple of weeks.
I think it was 100 metres in a 30, 35-minute stint there for Tom Burgess, sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unreal performance.
Well, the one that stands out, I think it was about 10 minutes left on the clock. We sort of handed the ball to him a little bit cheaply, a couple of little errors, maybe Gags got dragged over the sideline, a few things like that, and run at the pump, and it was another one of those real courageous Jai Gray bomb catches, and Tommy, off the back fence, runs 16, 17 metres, and the whole crowd cheered, didn't they, Brownie?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And that's a typical Tom Burgess run, and guess what? Off a standing start, he hardly... that's how Tommy does it.
Well,
There's not many blokes in the game who can do average 10-metre hit-ups without running onto the ball.
Yeah, I know. He's phenomenal. A standing start. And I think that period that you're talking about, Chaps, was about 15 minutes to go, and our goal line defence was outstanding. We turned them away on a couple of occasions, and, Big Tommy was getting us out of trouble, getting us back downfield. But, yeah, that 15-minute period was a real turning point in the game, because if they score 1 try there, like I said earlier, they might have got 2 with a little bit of confidence. But, yeah, we kept turning them away, and, Big Tommy was getting us out of trouble with his barnstorming charges upfield.
And you might have seen our social media post from our loyal sponsor there, Ramos Bricklaying. The Brick by Brick Award this week went to Little Jai Gray, 198 metres, caught some courageous bombs at the back end of that game when the game was on the line under pressure. I think he had 4 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, and he scored his first try in first grade. So congratulations to you, Jai Gray. An outstanding performance from the little fella.
And I think the big thing that stands out to me is the 60 post contact meters from the self-proclaimed 5'10" fullback there. I thought that he was outstanding. Really solid performance. And again, the speed, the footwork at the line, but also the strength in contact as well for someone that, probably isn't the biggest fullback. It's just inspiring to watch.
Yeah, look, the award probably could have went to a couple of different players. Keon was one of them, and we tossed his name up. But, yeah, the award went to Jai Gray, and deservingly so. I thought he was outstanding on the night. He was very safe. But the thing I like about Jai, that he threatens every time he's got the ball. Every time he catches the ball, something looks like it's going to happen. Whether he, runs between 2 players, he's got that knack to get in between 2 players and half go through just about every time. And that's why no one can get a shot on him, because of his pace, and he gets between 2 players. The old saying in rugby league, you run to the space and not the face, and that's exactly what Jai Gray does.
I'm not sure if he's done something to Tommy Talau, but he obviously had a target on it. Is there a beef between you and Tommy Talau, Jai? I'm not sure, but every time you got the ball, he seemed to come from nowhere and try and put a shot on you. But guess what, mate? You got up every time. Well done, Jaisy. I want to give a rap. Like you just mentioned him then. Tane Milne had a couple little missed tackles in the second half, but it was only because he done, again, over 20 carries again. He came up with a big shot on Ben Condon, I think, in the second half.
Yeah.
What really short crash ball, went down low, put the shoulders in, he's dropped it. And guess what happens 3 seconds later? We play the ball. Who does the first hit up? Not only does he get the turnover, he puts his hand up for the first tackle coming out of yardage every single time. I don't think there's too many players in the game doing 20-plus hit-ups every week in the centres. Outstanding again. Tane, mate, you just keep it up. You're a freak, son.
Well, effort on effort, and that's what our wins have been based on over the last 4 weeks, hasn't it, Chaps? It's been effort on effort on effort, and that's what we're talking about with Tane just then. Comes up with a nice shot, forces the ball loose, and then, puts his hand up to do the next carry. Yeah, great work, Tane. But like you said, Chaps, a couple of little defensive errors, which could have led to tries, but we scrambled in our D, and gets on top of that. He's been good for us, Tane, over the last 6 weeks. Well, all year basically. He's played probably just about every game, I'd say.
Yep.
Yeah, he
Great.
hasn't missed too many, that's for sure. He didn't play in Vegas, did he? Round
No,
one?
no. Well, that might have been the only game
That's
he's
the only
missed.
game he's missed, just from memory. I could be wrong, but look, Benny Hornby again. He's got these blokes playing a pretty simple brand of football, high energy in defence. The scramble is what is the difference between now and 6 or 10 weeks earlier. He seems to field a lot of questions from the media about what's the difference between now and then, but he just keeps coming back with the same answer. We're playing better as a team. The boys are enjoying themselves out there. And he revealed a little bit there about Campbell Graham and Tai Munro being possibly out for the season. So my understanding is Campbell Graham, if we can get in a position where, say he's due back around 20 or 22, for example, if we're in contention for the semi-finals to make a semi-final and we're flying, well, they might actually see if they can bring him back. But if we're not, you're not going to risk two blokes who are they've got a big future in the game still, Campbell Graham and Tai Munro.
Yeah, of course, Chaps. It's a smart thing to do. Like you said, if we drop 1 or 2 games, it's going to put pressure on our chances to make the top 8. At the moment, we're 4 in a row. We've got the bye this week, and we've got a couple of games coming up that are very winnable. The back end of the season, it gets a little bit tougher, and we've got to play the likes of the Roosters, and I think we play Penrith again at the back end of the season. Not 100% sure, but I know the games get a little bit tougher at the back end. But if we're in a position, without a doubt, and they're fit enough, I'm sure that
He
might
hasn't
see
done
Campbell
contact, put it that way. So you got to do at least 2 weeks of contact coming back from a serious injury like that, serious surgery. So look, he'd be given every opportunity to heal himself up. And look, it's been a bit of a tough one for him because look, go back to this time last year, I would have said, we said on the show many times, I think he's been the most consistent for 5 years in a row. Difference between his best and worst game is hardly anything every week, Campbell. So we want to see the best out of Campbell, not just rushing back for the sake of it. We've got to look after the health of this bloke. Now, Manly's best, Big Lez, what do you think, bud?
Manly's best. Look, it was a pretty lackluster performance from Manly. Obviously, as we said before, not really providing much in their sets, just looking for a field position. I thought that Luke Brooks really put in a dig. He tried to get his side some field position, obviously, with kicks. They went to him pretty much every time on last tackle, right up until they brought Tommy Talau into that role, playing on that right half sort of role there. But yeah, it was a lot of pressure on Luke Brooks. I thought that he had some pretty decent kicks. Some of them nearly turned into opportunities, but I thought that it was just, as a team, not really providing much. Obviously, not much of a kick chase either from some of his back rollers when they probably should have been a little bit more of a chase and a little bit more of a defensive effort there from them. But yeah, look, I thought Luke Brooks was probably their best. Second best, I'd probably say, was Tolu Taukula. I thought that he had one of his better performances of the year. Obviously, only running around 50 to 60 meters per game usually over the past 3 weeks, but run 202 in this game with about 19 or 20 carries there. So definitely a massive improvement from him there on that left edge, obviously with some question marks around him over the past few weeks.
He looked dangerous when he got the ball in his hand, didn't he? He threatened down our edges a couple of times. That once when Jackie Whiten come across in cover and got him, that he would have been away off that one. But yeah, no, he looked dangerous every time he touched the ball.
I was impressed with one of the debutants there. They had a couple there, but it was Caleb Navale. I think he come on with a big cheer in the it was the southwestern corner, a big Fijian clan over there, and they made a lot of noise when he come on. I thought Leon LeBlanc was coming on the field.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
He had more down there than Liam, but he had some really good runs with purpose, and he's not someone that falls on the ground. You got to put this bloke on the ground, and he looks like he's got a future. So well done to him, and I agree. Kola was probably the pick of the bunch over there. But Lehigh Hopewadi, seen him in the flesh. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's very skillful.
Got a big future. Lehigh Hopewada. I believe we got another Hopewada signed up in the lower grades. I think he's about 13 or 14. So
yeah.
they just keep coming. How many is there? 10 of them?
Well, that'd be
Look, another 3 more, and they could get a starting lineup somewhere.
Yeah, nah,
Start their own club.
Yeah, there certainly is, and they're all talented players as well. And I believe this young kid is playing fullback for Manly at the moment. He's one of the most talented ones, and they've got high hopes of him having a big rugby league career. But I thought Carl Lawton was good and playing out of position. I thought he tried hard, tried everything to get his team home. But yeah, just unfortunate. And Cola, like you boys said, he just looked threatened. Every time he touched the ball, he looked dangerous. But yeah, because he's got so much speed, I suppose. But yeah, just not good enough. And yeah, well, too good on the night.
Well, I think the Lawton as well, the thing that sort of made him stand out a little bit as well was just the fact that playing out of position, he just resorted to his strengths. All right, what can I do here? Obviously not the best kicker, but I can run the ball. I can run straight, good lines, get my side into good field position. A few passes on the outside, I can do that as well with position, experience at hooker, having that ball playing skills as well. Like he just played to his strengths, and I think that's what the side needed. And unfortunately, the side didn't go on to win the game or score any points. But he just did. He just played to his strengths and what his side needed when he was in that halfback role. And then the same thing at hooker. Did what he could do.
Yeah, they had a lot of dominant players out, didn't they? Cherry Evans, Olakuatu, obviously the two Turbo boys, Garrick, a couple of their front rowers. So they had plenty missing. But like we said, we've got to win them games if we want to be a threat in this competition.
Yep.
It was a grinding win. It was what you call winning ugly. And, throughout the season, you've got to win them games, and we did. And
We got the job done, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl Lawton and me had the same amount of kick meters, 0. We both never kicked the ball on the night. But, I want to give a wrap to Damien Cook. Tough week for him. Sounds like he was, if you listen to Cody in the press conference, he cried before he even got the words out addressing the team during the week. A place that means a lot to him. He obviously didn't want to go, but he's able to extend his career another year, get more of an earn for his family, his beautiful young family there. And like Cody said, you're not just getting a good player, but you're getting a good man. You're getting a good bloke.
Yeah,
so congratulations to the Dragons. Brownie, your thoughts on it, mate? Me and Big Lez had a little chat about it the other day.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make that show. But yeah, look, it's sad to see Cookie go. But like you said, chaps, today's game, it's a business, isn't it, really? And you've got to look after yourself. And he's got to extend his career a little bit longer rather than go over to the UK. He's going to be playing in the NRL, and he's going to be helping a lot of the young players at the Dragons. They've got a good squad. They're building over there under Flanagan. Ben Hunt looks like he's going to re-sign in the next couple of weeks. So, and like Cody said, you're getting a great bloke, and that's the most important in this game. If you got somebody with a good personality come to your club, he's always going to be benefit to the younger players around him. He's very professional in his approach. He's a good trainer. He does everything right, and he's still in good form. Look at what he did for us last night, and not only
huge.
last night, but over the course of the year.
He's been big. He's plugged just about every hole in our side as we got down to the point where we only had 15 full-time players. He's been outstanding.
Well, he was playing Origin last year, so
how's it going?
Yeah.
Look, we did the predictions the other day, which we've done the last couple of weeks. We chucked out some anytime try scorers. I had Jai Gray, got the cash, and Leroy's just about predicted how he was going to score. Keon Koloamatangi, another anytime try scorer. So
all over it.
That third show of the week, you got to have a look at it. The prediction show, if you want to make an earn, it's right there for you.
We might have to get sponsored by Bluebird or one of them. Dunk, hope you listen.
Dunky McRae, there's a little wink for you, mate. Now, we went to the post-match function, as we do the P&O members post-match function, and we had a big turnout there. Kieran Macklin and Lisa come down from Newcastle. And again, Becca Eakin, they had a netball game at finished at 2, jumped in the car and drove all the way to Sydney through that horrible weather and watched it, slept the night and went home this morning. So I hope you just got home safe, you and your husband there. Great to see you. And we had Tommy Fletcher up. Young Tommy Fletcher come back from a hernia injury.
His old man was there. They come all the way down
Tina
from Bulladoola.
Yep,
shout out to all you guys as well.
It was great to have a little beer with you there at the end. And Tommy, nice young man. Grew up a Mad South fan.
Yep.
which people don't realise. He's still a member to this day. I think his mum and dad still pay for his junior membership to this
Yeah.
day.
There you go.
We might have to upgrade that to an adult membership, though, Nick. But he's 19 now, I think. So
Well,
we'll see how he goes.
Speaking of 19, but he's got a bit of size about him, hasn't he? Now, Chaps, he towered above me. I mean, I'm 6 foot, just under 6'1", and he was towering above me on the stage. So yeah,
I'll
Put a-
stand on a chair looking up at him, so
Yeah.
that'll tell you how big he is. So.
he's got a great physique. He's got a really good build for an edge back rower, and yeah, you'll be seeing plenty more of this young kid. Don't be surprised if he debuts at the back end of the year.
Well, he came back for a flag, and he did reveal to us it looks like he's going to go into the New South Wales Cup next week. So he might play a couple of weeks or a month down there, and who knows, he might be the one debuting, just like his good mate Liam LeBlanc did.
Yeah, perfect. Can't wait to see him. Obviously, heard a few raps on him, so hopefully he does get an opportunity soon.
Yep, and that's about it on the first grade game. We got out there a bit early to watch the New South Wales Cup, and that was they're sort of running through us a bit there when we were there. They scored a couple of length of the field tries. Jamie Humphries was one of them from Manly, who we've spoken about on the prediction show. Bit of mail around. Now, I don't like to reveal all this, but could have possibly signed a 4-year deal with the Bunnies. A bit of mail getting around on Twitter today. He's an exciting prospect.
Yeah, very exciting and very versatile as well. Obviously, been playing for the past 2 years for Manly at hooker, but obviously can slot into the halves as well, can slot into fullback if you really need him to. So having that versatility, obviously, I've spoken about a number of times on my podcast, the fact that South Sydney, with Cook obviously going to the Dragons, a big thing would be to obviously get some players who can play in the spine just as a bit of backup. I think that's the one thing we've sort of lacked over the past few years, as well as some forwards as well in terms of that sort of depth. But I think that spine backup is going to be a big thing for us over the next few years to just sort of grab in the open market. And I think this guy can cover a ton of positions. So it's great to see him sign on if he does.
There's probably going to be a huge roster changeover, isn't there, Chaps?
It's looking that way.
Especially at the bottom end of that top 30 squad and through the New South Wales Cup program and the pathways, and looks like there's going to be a few changes there. And not sure who's going to be signed and who ain't, but
It's
I'm
only
sure there'll be
speculation.
changes.
This is not a confirmation. I think we'll wait for South Sydney Rabbitohs to send out an email on some of the signings and comings and goings over the next month or two. But a little heads up for Hey Jude there. Jude Soldenhaar scored 4 tries in the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
Good prospect. He got out in the open. It was a fair distance he scored from that second last try of the game. Well done to you, Jude. Keep plugging away there, son. Plenty of foot speed. But Tippy O'Connell's team just had a tough day out. 34 points to 4. Only try scorer there was Louis Grozomir, who's probably nearly been the most consistent player of the season for that team. Local boy. The Coogee Wombats there.
We go hard our Coogee Wombats boys, hey?
They're a good club, the Wombats.
Yeah, well, one of the great Coogee Wombats was there last night, Jace Clark. I think he does a bit of a roll out there for a lot of the private functions and stuff. What were some of those functions out there, Brownie? Look pretty good. The Churchills and the Legends Bar, is it?
Yeah, Legends Bar, the Churchill's Lounge and the Chairman's Lounge, or Churchill's.
They've got a really good cocktail bar there, which is set up from Young Henry's. They do a nice gin and tonic there if you ever wanted to spoil a family or friend.
I think that's the Legends Bar.
You look good in there.
Yeah.
We're only allowed to look from a distance, but they let us wave to people in there. But yeah, we'll get a start one day.
We'll talk to Dan, our mate Dan from Young Henry's, and yeah, we'll get a start in there.
Jeez, they've got some good beer, Young Henry's. That swing juice now. Oh, I might get 4 on the way home. That might be about it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.